Hi, I'm Dr. Lynn Johnson, and I'd like to talk to you a bit about outcomes in mental health treatment. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is medication-oriented outcomes. So we'll call this meds. Okay. And the general accepted notion here is that when you get depressed or maybe when you're anxious, you're going to go to see a psychiatrist or a primary care doc, and he'll give you what? A prescription. Write out a prescription, fill this at the drugstore. Actually, they send it by electronic mail these days. And there you go. You're going to have a nice outcome. Why? Because you're taking a medication. Now, we'll talk about the actual outcomes, which is in usual mental health treatment, about 1/3 recover, about 1/3 improve, and about 1/3 are unchanged. Okay, so in other words, you have a 1 chance in 3 of full recovery on medication. If you're in this group, that's great. That's great. If you're down here in the improve section, there's a couple of things that are done. What the doctors will typically do is add another medication or change the medication you have. So you can change it, or you can add an additional medication, like they use major tranquilizers to boost the effect of the antidepressant. All right. The better solution to this, and has been shown in a number of studies, is when you combine therapy plus meds, you get the best outcome. Okay? So here you've got a nice combination. And frankly, and I've talked to psychiatrists about this. In fact, on an article that a psychiatrist posted, he was going through all these things. So I wrote in a note saying, yeah, and what about the psychotherapy referral? And he said, well, that's true, Dr. Johnson is right. And so the first thing you want to do if you're in the improved range is get a good psychotherapist. I'm in Salt Lake City. I'm glad to work with you. That part of the reason I do these is I want you to kind of get to know me, and if you think you and I could work together, give me a call and let's talk. Unchanged, okay. The psychiatrists typically call these people treatment resistant, and they're not really resisting treatment in the psychological sense. In other words, you're eager to get better. You're going to a shrink. You're trying to figure out what's going on. But if you're in that third, then there's not a lot that the psychiatrist can do for you. They can try another medication. They can try a combination of medication. They can go with more intensive treatments. The typical thing would be electroconvulsive therapy. They give you a shock through your brain, and it actually is very quick and very helpful. Again, psychiatrists tend to look in terms of the biological stuff, and psychologists like me, we look in terms of what are your relationships, what is your self-talk looking like, what's your history looking like, things like that. And so a lot of these people that are unchanged really should be referred to a good psychologist for some therapy. That's my view on it. And as Groucho Marx said, those are my principles, and if you don't like them, I have others. But I do hold pretty carefully to this. I say, look, some people, this is great. It works perfectly for them. Other people, it improves them, but they probably should be in therapy. If you're in this range, you could be in therapy anyway. Why? Because it turns out that people who recover with psychotherapy do not relapse as often. And if you're in this range here, where you're really not getting any better, You could try a whole bunch of different medications, treatments. You could even try electroconvulsive therapy if you're seriously depressed enough. But give therapists a chance, because frankly, we do pretty well. See you in the next video.